So I was looking back at my financial journey over the last few years and identifying some of those pivotal moments, those pivotal lessons that changed the whole course, right? Allowing me to triple my income, put thousands into my savings, and just generally changing the way that I looked at finances, myself, and wealth as an ability to improve my quality of life. And I want to share those here. I have 5 of the ones that I wish I knew earlier, like in my early 20s, even perhaps in my late teens, like being able to get that head start by understanding these things about life and finances. Let's just get into it. So the first thing, and you may not expect this to be on the list, but it's actually investing in your creative bandwidth. I know a lot of the times we can get caught up in, okay, I've got to make this list of things to make this amount of money. However, the act of creation is one of the most powerful things humans have, right? And it also happens to be the kind of underlying pillar of people who make the most money in this world, right? Whether they are creating a new product that a lot of us can access and use to improve our quality of life or gain access to entertainment, or they're creating a solution to some of our scientific related issues and then selling that on, or they are creating a novel masterpiece or a novel piece of art and content that can be spread out throughout the world. It's the act of creation where, where value really is made. Harnessing and investing in your ability to be a creative individual and have creative energy flowing through you, it's not to be underestimated. Getting caught up in the other stuff, which is definitely important, but without the act of creating and being able to see things in different ways, you're kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. And there's a great quote by Albert Einstein that effectively goes that creativity is just intelligence having fun. So instead of thinking about creativity over here and logic and intelligence over there, really creativity is an expression of intelligence, right? Or of these other things that you have acquired, that you've seen, your interpretation of the world and your ability to make connections between things that other people haven't. And that really is one of the biggest common denominators between people who are successful in this world and who are able to make a living in a way that makes sense to them and that they enjoy. The next thing is about focusing more on identity capital than on a specific set of skills or specific job that you're going to do. When you're kind of early in your career, some people know what they want to do and other people don't. But the reality is that if you focus on identity capital, that is acquiring experiences, skills, and all this sort of stuff that will enrich you as an individual, it will pay off dividends into the future, right? You don't have to know that you want to be a doctor or a lawyer at age 21 or even at age 25 or 30, right? But if you are spending this time, traveling, reading books of different genres, interacting with people from different walks of life, right? You're creating things like we said in the last point. Like if you're doing things that enrich you as an individual, you can then use this combination of things, of skills, of experiences that you have, right, to go into the world and offer something that other people cannot offer, right? Because nobody has your unique set of skills, experiences, way of looking at life. And that is what you bring. That is what you bring to the world. But in terms of money, it's what you bring to the market. The next biggest lesson is about thinking about purchases in terms of time and attention instead of thinking about them in money. Money is a way that we represent things that are actually more important to us or that actually make sense in terms of our lives, right? But it's abstracted. So if you spend £100, £200 on something, for what you know is you've handed this money over to somebody or your card and you've got some goods in exchange. However, when you start to think about that money, not in terms of this piece of paper or card, but instead the attention and the time that you had to exchange to get that money, well, then you have to start thinking about purchases in a very different way. Because it's easy to start buying things when you're abstracted away from it, like spending however many hundreds on a bag or on shoes or on this thing or on that thing, right? Let's illustrate this with an example. If you were going to buy something for £250, right, and you make £10 an hour, that means that item is going to cost you 25 hours of your time or the attention that you exchanged at work or in whatever circumstance to get that money. So if you work 8-hour shifts, then roughly 4 days work is going to be what it costs to get that item. And so when you start thinking about things like this, then you can start to work out, does this item still make sense? I'm going to exchange 4 days of my life for this item. 4 days I will never get back, attention, time, and energy. Do I still want that item that much? And sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes I know that this item is going to form part of my investment in myself and my earning potential, or it's going to, help me with my creative pursuits or something like that. That's one thing. But if at the end of it, you're still looking at it like, I don't know if I really want it that much, like 4 days of my life, was it worth it? Then you're like, it's okay. It's okay. The next thing, kind of leading on from this then, is that you are your biggest investment. Don't get too bogged down or inundated with what is the best thing for me to put my money in at, like, especially in your 20s. Like, should I put it in stock? Should I put it in, real estate and so forth? Doing that is not an issue, but the answer is always going to be, especially in your 20s, in your teens, you. You are your biggest moneymaker, right? So investing in courses or investing in education or investing in books or investing in experiences, going places is always going to pay off again, long term, even in the immediate, right? Because you are, and your earning potential is really the most valuable thing you have. If you're thinking about putting money into stocks or long-term portfolios, that's great, and accessing that money in maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And that has its own, benefits. But if we are talking about crafting a life that you want to live in terms of access to money and wealth that you can use to create your dream life, then you have to start investing in your earning potential now, in you. And using a combination of these things, but at the end of the day, you. It's you, baby. And the final lesson I wish I knew earlier is that saving is important. It is a fundamental part of being a human that can fall back on themselves and has access to cash to do certain things. However, that in itself and that focus on lowering your expenses so that you can save more is not the answer to trying to be a wealthy person or trying to achieve financial independence. Earning more, increasing the amount of money that you have access to and that you can then use to multiply or optimize is going to be what grows you, and that grows long-term wealth and even multi-generational wealth. And so thinking about that shift from budgeting and expenses all the time, again, important feature, but thinking about how do I balance the other side of my budget, the money coming in, how do I optimize that? And use those skills, use that creativity, use all the things that we've spoken about in this video already to get me further. If you want to know the 4 decisions that took me from broke to a top % earner, then watch this video over here. And if you want to know some of the best purchases that I have made in my 20s so far that have helped me in my financial journey, my quality of life, then check out this video over there.